The last battle of the Orion Belt War had begun with fire and silence. In the deep dark space near the twin stars of Eleanor, human warships floated like metal giants. Their engines burned bright blue against the black sky. Across from them, the Triar Dominion's fleet waited with silver ships shaped like blades. The tension between the two sides could almost be felt through the vacuum. Both knew this battle would decide the end of the long and painful war. Commander Aaron stood at the bridge of the human flagship Valiant. He was not tall or decorated with medals, but every soldier on the ship followed him with complete trust. Years of battles had changed him. His eyes no longer showed fear or pride, only focus. He had lost friends and comrades, but he still carried their spirit in his heart. Aaron did not fight for glory or revenge. He fought because peace was still worth protecting. The fleet commander's voice came through the comm link. All ships prepare for final assault. Target the enemy flagship. The war ends today. Aaron gave a single nod. All batteries ready. Fire when in range. His voice was calm, steady, like the quiet before a storm. The battle began with flashes of light that could be seen from thousands of kilometers away. Energy beams crossed space and explosions painted the blackness with orange fire. The Valiant shook as an enemy torpedo grazed its side. The crew moved fast, sealing the breach. Aaron stood firm, giving orders with precision. Every move counted. Every second mattered. For hours, the fight continued. The Dominion ships tried to break the human formation, but Aaron anticipated their every move. He had studied their patterns, their commanders, even their culture. He respected them, even though they were the enemy. He believed that understanding was stronger than hatred. Finally, the enemy flagship began to fall back. Smoke and flames covered its hull. The human fleet advanced, but Aaron saw something strange on his screen. A smaller signal was moving away from the Dominion flagship. It was a shuttle. Its energy reading showed that it was badly damaged. Inside it were life signs, weak and fading. Aaron scanned the data again. The shuttle carried 3 passengers. Identification codes showed they were members of the Dominion royal family. His second officer turned to him. "Sir, it is a trap. The flagship is collapsing. We should not risk the ship." Aaron looked at the screen again. The small shuttle was spinning out of control, heading toward a broken station near the battlefield. "Prepare a rescue team," he said. "I am going." The officer looked shocked. "Commander, that is too dangerous." "We can send drones." Aaron shook his head. "No machine can pull them out if the station collapses. I will go." Minutes later, he was in the hangar bay, pulling on his space armor. The air was filled with smoke and sirens. The rescue ship, a small transport named Swiftwing, was ready. Aaron climbed inside with a small crew of medics and engineers. The ship launched, heading straight through the remains of the battle. Debris floated everywhere. Pieces of destroyed ships turned slowly in the void. The Swiftwing dodged burning metal and drifting wreckage. As they neared the broken station, Aaron saw the shuttle stuck between 2 twisted beams of metal. The station was half destroyed and still losing atmosphere. Time was running out. "Dock us there," Aaron ordered. "Be careful with the pressure lock." The pilot nodded and guided the ship close. Aaron and his team moved through the airlock and entered the station. Inside was chaos. Walls were torn open. Sparks flew from broken panels and floating debris made every step a risk. The station was falling apart. "Scan for survivors," Aaron said. The medic raised the scanner. 3 life signs ahead in the main corridor. They moved quickly. The corridor led to a large room that looked like a meeting chamber. Inside, they found 3 figures lying near a shattered console. Their suits were torn and their helmets cracked. The medic rushed forward. "They are alive but weak." Aaron lifted one of them carefully. Under the broken helmet was a face unlike any human's. The skin had a soft pale glow and the eyes were deep silver. It was clear that these were not soldiers. They were the Dominion's royal daughters. The eldest opened her eyes and tried to speak, but her voice was faint. "Why, are you helping us?" Human, Aaron answered calmly. "Because I can." The station groaned and part of the ceiling began to fall. The engineers shouted, "The structure is failing. We need to leave now." Aaron nodded. He carried one sister, while the others were lifted by the team. They moved as fast as they could through the broken hall. Behind them, flames spread through the vents. When they reached the airlock, one of the beams collapsed, cutting off their path. Aaron turned to his team. "Take them to the ship. I will clear the way." He picked up a plasma cutter and burned through the fallen metal, opening a narrow passage. The others moved through it one by one, carrying the injured. As Aaron was about to follow, another explosion shook the room. A heavy pipe fell, trapping his leg. Pain surged through him, but he refused to stop. He pushed the pipe aside with both hands, ignoring the heat and sparks. His armor cracked and blood filled his boot, but he kept moving. The ship's pilot shouted through the comm, "Commander, the station is collapsing. You have to come now." "I am coming," Aaron said through gritted teeth. He jumped across the broken floor and reached the airlock just as the structure gave way. The swift wing pulled back and the station exploded behind them, sending waves of fire and debris across space. The rescue ship shook hard, but it held together. The crew cheered when the scanner showed they had escaped. The medics worked quickly to stabilize the 3 alien sisters. Their names were Mira, Leon, and Tora. Mira, the eldest, thanked Aaron in a weak voice before she fainted again. Leon's hand gripped his arm, showing silent gratitude. Tora, the youngest, looked at him with wide eyes full of confusion and wonder. "You saved us," she whispered. Aaron only nodded. "Rest now. You are safe." The swift wing returned to the Valiant, where the rest of the human fleet was gathering. The Dominion forces, seeing their royal family rescued by a human, began to lower their weapons. The war was over. Both sides sent messages of ceasefire. In the following days, peace talks began. Aaron was called to the council ship to give his report. He told the truth, that he acted because no one should die if they could be saved. The human council praised his courage. The Dominion emissaries listened in silence, their expressions unreadable. Later, a message arrived from the Dominion royal court. It invited Aaron to their world as an honored guest. The message said that according to ancient custom, a warrior who saves royal daughters is to be rewarded. The reward is the right to choose one of them as a life companion. Aaron was silent for a long time after reading the message. He never wanted any reward. He did not believe in claiming someone's life as a prize. Yet he also knew that refusing might offend their traditions and harm the new peace that had just begun. When the Dominion's representative, an old scholar named Rill, visited him, Aaron spoke plainly. "I do not seek reward. I only did what I thought was right." Rill smiled gently. "And that is why they wish to honor you. Sometimes the one who does not seek reward is the most worthy to receive it." Aaron looked out the window at the stars. The sky of space stretched endlessly, filled with both beauty and sorrow. He thought about all the lives lost in the war, both human and alien. If his actions could build peace, he would go. Not for himself, but for the chance to make something good out of all that pain. The next morning, he stood on the deck of the Valiant, watching the planet of the Dominion appear ahead, a world covered in silver oceans and floating cities. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The air shimmered with light, and ships of elegant design flew in perfect harmony. The landing craft prepared to take him down. As he entered the shuttle, Aaron felt a strange calm. The war was over, but something told him this was not the end of his journey. It was the beginning of something new, something far greater than he could yet understand. He did not know that his simple act of kindness would soon change not only his life, but also the future of 2 entire species. For now, he sat quietly, watching the alien world grow larger beneath him, unaware that 3 lives down there waited to meet him again. 3 hearts that remembered the man who had saved them when all hope was lost. The shuttle moved slowly through the clouds of the Dominion world. From the window, Aaron saw floating towers that shone with blue light. Bridges connected them like silver threads. Rivers of light flowed under the clouds, leading to wide oceans that glimmered under the twin suns. It was beautiful and strange at the same time. Aaron had seen many worlds during the war, but none like this. Everything here looked peaceful, balanced, and alive. As the shuttle landed on a large platform, he saw a group of guards waiting in lines of silver armor. Their armor reflected the sunlight like polished mirrors. Behind them stood a group of nobles dressed in long robes that shifted colors like waves. They bowed their heads as Aaron stepped out. An elder with kind eyes stepped forward. "Welcome, Commander Aaron of Earth. The Council and the royal family thank you for saving the daughters of the Dominion. You are an honored guest among us." Aaron bowed his head politely. "I thank you for your welcome. I am only glad they are safe," the elder smiled. "Our customs ask that we show gratitude to the one who saves royal blood. The Queen herself will meet you soon. Until then, please rest in the Hall of Harmony." Guards led him through wide corridors filled with glowing plants and floating crystal lights. The air smelled sweet and soft music echoed through the walls. Aaron walked quietly, studying everything. He had fought against this race for years, yet now he was their guest. It felt strange, but also peaceful. The Hall of Harmony was a large chamber with open arches looking out toward the ocean. He was given a room there. The walls shimmered with faint blue energy that felt warm to the touch. When he sat down, a servant brought him a drink made from glowing fruit. He thanked the servant and tried it carefully. It tasted like sweet wind and rain. For the first time in many years, Aaron felt relaxed. A few hours later, the door opened and 3 figures entered the room. Aaron stood at once. It was Mira, Leon, and Tora, the 3 sisters he had rescued from the broken station. They were no longer wearing battlesuits but royal garments that matched their gentle light. Each one looked healthy again, though faint scars showed where their helmets had cracked during the battle. Mira, the eldest, spoke first. Her voice was calm and graceful. "Commander Aaron, we are pleased to see you again. We owe you our lives." Aaron nodded slightly. "You owe me nothing. Any soldier would have done the same." Mira smiled. "Perhaps among humans, yes. But among our people, saving royal life binds you with the honor of choice. You must choose one of us as your reward. It is the law of the Dominion." Aaron frowned slightly. "I do not understand. What if I refuse?" Leon, the second sister, stepped forward. Her eyes were sharp and bold, like a pilot ready for flight. Refusing would dishonor the royal line and insult the council. The law was made long ago to honor those who risk everything for our blood. We cannot change it easily. Tora, the youngest, smiled softly. Her silver eyes glowed with warmth. "But we do not see it as a burden. You saved us when no one else could. We wish to honor you." Aaron looked at the 3 of them. He could see their sincerity. Still, the idea of choosing one of them felt wrong. "I did not save you for reward. I only did what was right. If peace is born from that act, it is reward enough." Mira stepped closer, her hands folded in front of her. "Peace needs symbols. Our people believe in promises made through unity. This tradition exists because it joins families of different races or houses. If you choose, it will show that humans and the Dominion can live as one." Her words made sense. Aaron was a soldier, but he was also a man who understood duty. If this act could strengthen peace between both races, maybe he could accept. Still, he felt uneasy. He could not think of one sister without remembering the others. They were different, yet connected in spirit. The sisters stayed for a while, talking about the days after the war. Mira spoke of rebuilding their home cities and opening trade with human colonies. Leon told him stories of her battles and how she had learned to respect human pilots even during the war. Tora asked about Earth, about its forests, oceans, and animals. Her curiosity reminded Aaron of the innocence that war often destroys. He answered her questions patiently, describing sunsets, snow, and rain. She listened with shining eyes, imagining a world so far away. After they left, Aaron walked out to the balcony and watched the twin suns sink below the horizon. The sky turned golden purple. The air was calm, but his thoughts were not. He wondered how peace could be so difficult even after victory. The idea of choosing one of the sisters troubled him. Each of them had a good heart. He respected Mira's wisdom, admired Leon's courage, and enjoyed Tora's light spirit. He did not want to hurt any of them by choosing one. That night he could not sleep. The moonlight glowed through the glass walls. He heard soft footsteps outside and turned to see Mira standing near the door. She was holding a small silver light. "I did not mean to wake you," she said softly. "I wanted to speak privately." Aaron nodded. "You are welcome here." She sat down across from him. "Our people believe in reason and peace, but sometimes traditions hold us like chains. My mother, the Queen, will soon call you to make your choice. If you wish, I can ask her to delay it." Aaron looked at her carefully. "Why would you do that?" Mira smiled faintly. "Because you look like a man who carries too much weight. I saw it in your eyes even when you rescued us. You are not someone who makes choices for pleasure or gain." He nodded slowly. "You are right. War leaves too many ghosts. I only want to do what helps others." Mira placed her hand over her heart. "That is why I respect you, Commander. If you choose me, I will not see it as reward, but as partnership for peace." Aaron said nothing for a moment. "You are kind. But I do not know if I can choose at all." The next morning, Leon came to see him. She wore a light pilot's armor with symbols of honor on her shoulder. "Commander, I want you to know something," she said firmly. "I do not believe in old customs either, but I respect strength and courage. You saved us because you are both brave and just. If you ever choose me, I will stand beside you as an equal, not as a prize." Aaron met her gaze. "You speak like a warrior." She smiled proudly. "That is what I am. But I am also a sister and a daughter of peace now. The war taught me that strength without understanding means nothing." Later that day, Tora appeared. She was carrying a small animal that looked like a glowing bird. It sat quietly on her arm. "Mira and Leon told me they came to speak with you. So I wanted to come too," she said with a laugh. Aaron smiled faintly. "I am glad you did." She looked at him with honest eyes. "I do not understand rules and traditions like Mira does. I only know that you saved us when everything was falling apart. You did not even know who we were, yet you came. That is why I think you are special." Aaron shook his head. "I am not special. I am just a man who did what he could." Tora shook her head softly. "Maybe that is what makes you special." The bird on her arm chirped and spread glowing wings before flying into the air. Tora watched it go and smiled again. "Our world is beautiful, but sometimes we forget how fragile it is. You helped us remember." Aaron watched her for a moment. She was young and full of light. He felt a strange sense of peace around her. "Your world has much to teach," he said quietly. As the day ended, a message arrived from the royal palace. The queen herself requested Aaron's presence. The message was clear. The ceremony of choice would take place the next morning. He would have to decide which of the three sisters to choose as his reward. Aaron spent the night walking through the palace gardens. The air was filled with glowing flowers and the sound of soft wind. He thought of each sister and what they represented. Mira was wisdom, Leon was courage, and Tora was life. Together they reflected everything he had fought for. Choosing one would mean breaking the balance that connected them. When dawn came, he stood before a large mirror and looked at his reflection. The face staring back was calm but tired. He had faced battles and death without fear. Yet this choice filled him with unease. He knew what the council expected. He knew what the queen would ask. But he also knew what his heart told him, that peace could not be built by choosing one and forgetting the others. As the sun rose, the palace bells rang. The time had come. Aaron took a deep breath and walked toward the great hall, where the queen and the sisters waited. The path ahead was uncertain, but he was ready to face it with the same courage that had guided him through war. Whatever his choice would be, it would not be made for reward or tradition. It would be made for unity, for the bond that joined all hearts that sought peace across the stars. Morning light filled the royal hall of the Dominion Palace. The ceiling was made of clear crystal that reflected the twin suns, filling the room with soft golden light. At the center stood a round platform with 3 paths leading toward it. Each path was decorated with the color of one sister, blue for Mira, red for Leon, and white for Tora. The air was calm, but the weight of the moment rested heavy on every heart present. Hundreds of Dominion nobles stood in silence. The queen sat on her high seat, her crown glowing with silver light. Her face was wise and calm, yet her eyes studied every movement carefully. When Iran entered the hall, everyone turned toward him. He walked slowly but firmly, wearing his formal uniform. There were no weapons at his side, only the mark of honor on his chest. The queen raised her hand. "Commander Aaron of Earth, you have saved my daughters and through your courage brought peace to 2 great nations. According to the law of our ancestors, you are granted a reward. You may choose one of my daughters as your companion for life, as a symbol of unity between our peoples." Aaron stopped at the center and bowed slightly. "Your Majesty, I am honored by your words. I never sought reward for my actions. I only did what was right. Still, I understand the value of your tradition." The queen nodded. "Then you will make your choice." The 3 sisters stood at the edge of the platform. Mira looked calm and composed, her eyes gentle and wise. Leanne stood proud, her armor polished and her posture straight. Tora smiled softly, her hands folded in front of her as her silver eyes shone with warmth. All 3 watched him silently, waiting to hear what he would say. Aaron looked at each of them, remembering the moments they had shared since his arrival. He remembered Mira's quiet wisdom as she spoke about peace, Leon's fiery courage as she trained with him in the palace yard, and Tora's bright laughter that filled the halls like sunlight. Each had touched his heart in a different way. They were not only royal daughters. They were brave souls who had suffered and still carried hope for a better future. The queen spoke again. "Speak your choice, human soldier. Aaron took a slow breath. The hall was silent. Even the sound of wind stopped. Every noble watched him with expectation. He looked at the queen and then at the sisters. "Your Majesty," he said calmly, "I cannot choose one." A whisper moved through the crowd. The queen frowned slightly. "You cannot refuse the law," she said. "The choice must be made." Aaron raised his head. His voice was steady and clear. "I do not refuse the law. I honor it. But I cannot honor it by choosing one and rejecting the others. Each of your daughters represents something greater than a single bond. Mira's wisdom, Leon's courage, and Tora's kindness. Together they are the reason peace was possible. Without one, the others would not stand complete. I cannot separate them, for they are one heart in three forms." The hall filled with quiet murmurs. Some nobles looked shocked. Others looked thoughtful. The queen's eyes narrowed as she studied the humans standing before her. "You speak boldly, Commander. But our law does not allow a man to claim all three. Such a thing has never been done." Aaron nodded. "Then let this be the first time. I do not wish to possess anyone. I wish to honor all three as equals, to stand with them as partners of peace, not as owner or master. If your tradition is meant to bind hearts for unity, then let unity include all." The queen's advisor, an old noble with golden markings on his face, stepped forward angrily. "This is against our sacred code. It is an insult to our ancestors." Aaron turned toward him, his voice calm. "I have fought your people and seen your strength. I have seen how deeply you honor your ancestors. But peace is not born from the past. It grows in the present. If the old code cannot accept unity between three hearts, then maybe it is time for it to change." The queen raised her hand, stopping the advisor from speaking further. She looked at Aaron again. "You ask for change that will shake the roots of our law. Such a request cannot be accepted easily." "I understand," said Aaron, "but I cannot speak false words. I will not choose one and dishonor the others." The hall fell silent again. Mira stepped forward. Her voice was soft but strong. "Mother, I believe his words are true. He speaks with the spirit of a leader. He honors all life equally. That is what peace means." Leanne moved beside her. "He is not greedy, Mother. If he were, he would have chosen quickly. He speaks from loyalty, not desire." Then Tora came forward too. "If he must face judgment, then let us face it with him. We owe our lives to him. I will not let his kindness turn to punishment." The queen looked at her daughters, then at the human who stood unshaken. The moment stretched long and silent. Finally she stood and said, "Very well. If you wish to prove your heart, you must face the trial of the veil. Only those who walk the path of truth may speak of unity. If you pass the trial, your wish will be granted." Aaron bowed his head slightly. "I accept your test." The queen raised her staff and a circle of light formed on the floor. Symbols glowed around them. "Tomorrow at dawn you will journey to the crystal veil. It is a place where the heart is tested by its own truth. You will go with my daughters. If the crystal accepts your bond, your words will become law." After the ceremony, the hall emptied slowly. Some nobles looked at Aaron with anger, others with curiosity. The sisters stayed behind, standing close to him. Tora smiled softly. "You really surprised everyone, Commander." Aaron nodded. "Sometimes the truth surprises even those who do not want to hear it." Mira placed a hand on his shoulder. "The trial will not be easy. The veil shows every weakness in one's heart. Many who enter never return." Aaron looked calm. "Then we will go together and return together." That night they prepared for the journey. The veil was far from the palace, deep within the mountains of the Dominion world. It was said to be ancient, older than the Dominion race itself. The path to it passed through forests filled with glowing mist and rivers that sang like voices. Before dawn, the four travelers stood at the edge of the palace landing platform. The queen's guards gave them supplies and maps. The queen herself came to see them off. "If you fail, Commander," she said sternly, "you will return to Earth with honor but without reward. If you succeed, the Dominion will change its law to honor your heart." Aaron saluted. "I understand." The ship lifted off and flew across the sky. From above, the Dominion world looked like a sea of light and silver. The sisters sat quietly. Leanne looked out the window. "I still cannot believe you said that in front of the queen," she said. Aaron smiled faintly. "It was the truth." Tora laughed. "You are either very brave or very foolish." Mira looked at him and said softly, "Sometimes both are the same thing." After several hours of flight, The ship landed near the mountain range. They continued on foot. The air there was thin but clean, filled with the scent of glowing plants. Strange animals watched them from the trees. The ground sparkled under their boots as if small crystals were hidden beneath the soil. The first challenge came when they reached a narrow bridge over a deep canyon. The bridge was made of energy threads that shimmered under their feet. As they crossed, a storm began. Wind roared through the canyon, and lightning flashed across the sky. Tora almost slipped, but Aaron caught her hand and pulled her back to safety. Leanne helped Mira steady the bridge controls. Together they managed to cross. When they reached the other side, they rested under a rock ledge, their hearts racing. "This trial tests not only strength but trust," said Mira. "We must face it as one." They continued their journey through the forest. As night came, strange lights appeared in the trees. They moved like living stars surrounding them. The sisters grew tense, but Aaron spoke calmly. "Do not fear them. They are only watching." He raised his hand slowly, and one of the lights floated near him. It was a small glowing creature, soft and harmless. It touched his hand and then flew away. The forest lights cleared the path ahead, guiding them safely to a quiet valley where they could rest. As they sat around a small fire, Tora looked at Aaron and said, "I think the veil already knows who you are." Aaron smiled lightly. "The veil only shows what is inside each of us." When dawn came again, they finally saw the entrance to the crystal veil. It was a wide arch made of pure light, leading into a valley filled with shining mist. The air hummed like a song. Aaron felt something stir in his chest, a sense of calm mixed with power. They stepped forward together, their shadows merging in the soft glow of the rising suns. The air around the crystal veil felt alive. The valley was filled with shining mist that moved like slow waves. The ground beneath their feet glittered as if covered with glass dust. In the distance stood a huge crystal structure shaped like a rising tower. It shone with every color of light, changing as the suns moved above the horizon. The veil looked peaceful, but there was something deep and powerful hidden within it. Aaron could feel it. Every breath carried a strange energy that touched his thoughts. Mira walked ahead, reading the inscriptions carved into the crystal stones that marked the path. "These are the words of the first ancients," she said. "They built this place to test the truth of those who claim unity. Each trial here reveals the real heart of those who enter." Leanne looked around carefully, one hand on her short energy blade. "So the veil is alive in some way. It will see if we speak truth or lie." Tora stepped beside Aaron, her eyes wide with wonder. "It feels like the air can hear us." Aaron nodded slowly. "Then we must walk with honesty. Lies will only bring us harm." They began moving forward along the shining path. The mist shifted around them, forming shapes that looked like faint shadows of people. Sometimes the shapes looked human. Sometimes they looked like the Dominion. The figures never spoke. They only watched, as if judging silently. After a while, the path split into 3 ways. The center path was straight, but the 2 others curved away through glowing arches. Mira stopped and read another line carved into the stone. It says that every traveler must face the reflection of their heart before they reach the crystal. The veil separates those who walk with fear from those who walk with trust. If we are to pass, we must go our own ways. Aaron looked at the sisters. "If we separate, we must promise to meet again at the crystal tower." Leanne nodded. "No matter what we see, we keep moving forward." Tora smiled softly. "We will find each other again." Mira took the left path, Leanne took the right, and Tora walked straight ahead with Oran. The mist thickened around them. Soon, Aaron could not see where the others had gone. Only silence remained. The air grew warmer and light flowed like water over the rocks. Tora glanced at him. "Do you think they will be safe?" Aaron looked ahead. "They are strong. Each one will face her own truth. We must trust them." As they moved forward, the mist around them began to form shapes again. This time, the shapes looked like soldiers. Human soldiers. Aaron stopped walking. He saw faces from the war, men and women he had known. They stood in silence, their eyes glowing faint blue. Then one stepped forward. It was his old friend Darren, who had died in the 3rd battle of Orion's Ring. The vision spoke with a calm voice. "Why did you survive when we did not?" Aaron did not move. He looked straight at the vision. "Because someone had to carry the story of those who fell. I fight so that others will not have to." The ghostly figure nodded and faded away. The other soldiers disappeared too. The mist cleared slightly. Tora watched with silent respect. "They were your friends," she said softly. "Yes," Aaron replied. "And they remind me why I walk this path." Further ahead, the ground turned to crystal water that glowed faintly. A narrow bridge of light appeared above it. Tora stepped carefully, her reflection shining below. When she looked down, she gasped. In the water, she did not see herself. She saw an image of her home city in flames, people running in fear. Her voice trembled. "This is what I fear most, losing everything again." Aaron placed his hand on her shoulder. "Then walk forward and face it. Fear loses power when you face it." Tora took a deep breath and stepped forward. The image below her began to fade. When she reached the end of the bridge, the fire in the water disappeared completely. She turned and smiled at Aaron. "You were right. The veil only shows what lives inside us." Aaron smiled faintly. "We all carry something heavy. The veil helps us see it clearly." They kept walking until they reached a wide plain made of glassy stone. The mist thickened again and a giant figure rose before them. It looked like a warrior made of crystal holding a bright spear. Its voice echoed like thunder. "Who dares walk the path of unity?" Aaron stepped forward. "Commander Aaron of Earth, I seek no power, only peace." The figure raised its spear. "If peace is your path, then show that you can protect it without hate." It swung the spear downward and light flashed across the ground. The wave of energy rushed toward them. Aaron pushed Tora behind a rock and drew his plasma blade. The beam of light hit his blade with a sound like ringing metal. The impact threw sparks into the air. Aaron held his ground, pressing forward step by step. The crystal warrior struck again and again, but Aaron met every blow with calm strength. His movements were not driven by anger but by focus and control. When the final strike came, he stepped aside and brought his blade down through the glowing spear. The crystal weapon broke into dust. The warrior paused, then bowed slowly before fading into the mist. Tora ran to Aaron. "Are you hurt?" He shook his head. "No, the trial was not about fighting. It was about balance." At that moment, light appeared from the three paths. Mira and Leon returned, walking through the mist. Mira's face was calm, but her eyes were wet with tears. Leon looked proud but tired. Each of them had faced their own trial. Mira had seen visions of her people blaming her for failure, but she stood firm and accepted that leadership meant bearing pain. Leon had faced a mirror of herself, full of rage from the war, and she had learned to forgive her own past. Together they stood once again before the crystal tower. The tower rose high above them. It was made of pure light, with a heart that pulsed like a living star. The air around it vibrated gently and soft music filled the space. The four walked forward together until they stood before the base of the crystal. Mira placed her hand on the surface first. "The veil waits for truth," she whispered. Then Leon and Tora placed their hands beside hers. Aaron placed his hand last. The crystal responded immediately. A beam of white light surrounded them. The ground beneath their feet began to shine and voices echoed through the air. The voices were ancient and deep, speaking in a language older than both their races. The light rose higher, wrapping around them like a glowing storm. Each of them saw visions inside the light. Mira saw her people living side by side with humans in peace. Leon saw soldiers of both races training together instead of fighting. Tora saw children of mixed worlds laughing under the same suns. Aaron saw all of it together, a future where war was only a memory. The voices spoke again, this time in their language. "Unity is not bound by one heart alone. When many hearts beat as one, peace is born. The bond you share is true." The light dimmed slowly and the crystal tower glowed softly. A symbol appeared on its surface, 3 stars linked by a single line. The veil had accepted them. The trial was complete. Tora's eyes filled with tears of joy. "We did it," Leon smiled proudly. "The veil believes in us." Mira looked at Aaron. "Now the queen must believe as well." Aaron nodded. "Then let us return." The path back through the valley was bright and clear. The mist no longer hid shadows or fear. Flowers made of glass opened as they walked past. The air felt warm and alive. When they reached their ship, even the skies seemed to glow brighter. They took off and flew toward the palace. When they landed, the queen and the council were waiting. The queen looked at them closely. "You have returned. The veil has judged you." Aaron stepped forward and held out his hand. Resting on his palm was a small crystal fragment that had broken from the tower. It glowed faintly with the mark of 3 stars. "The veil gave us this," he said. "It accepted our bond." The Queen's eyes widened. The entire hall went silent. The council members bowed their heads in respect. No one had ever brought back a living crystal from the veil. It was a sign of truth and blessing. The Queen stepped down from her throne and looked at Aaron and her daughters. "The veil has spoken," she said. "The law cannot stand against truth. From this day forward, the bond of unity between races will be honored. The choice you made, Commander Aaron, is no longer against tradition. It is the beginning of a new one." Mira smiled softly. Leon placed a hand on Aaron's shoulder. Tora laughed with relief. The hall filled with light as the crystal in Aaron's hand grew brighter. The Queen raised her staff and said, "Let it be known that the peace between humans and the Dominion is now sealed by courage, wisdom, and kindness, the 3 hearts that became one." For the first time in many generations, cheers filled the hall. Soldiers of both races raised their arms in respect. The sound echoed through the palace and out across the cities below. The war that had once divided them was now only a story. The symbol of 3 stars would become a mark of unity seen on every banner, every ship, and every world where humans and Dominion lived together. As the sun set that evening, Aaron stood with the 3 sisters on a balcony overlooking the ocean. The sky glowed red and gold, and the wind carried the soft sound of waves. Mira spoke quietly. "You change more than you know, Commander." Aaron looked out at the horizon. "We all did," Leon smiled. "And now our people have hope." Tora added, "Because one man chose all of us, not for himself, but for peace." Aaron stood quietly for a moment, feeling the wind on his face. The stars were beginning to shine in the sky above. He thought of the past, of the battles, and the friends he had. The palace was alive with celebration. Humans and Dominion citizens gathered together in the open courtyard, sharing food, music, and stories. Flags of both worlds fluttered in the wind, and the symbol of 3 stars joined by a single line appeared on every banner. This symbol represented the unity of courage, wisdom, and kindness, and it shone brightly as the twin suns warmed the city. Commander Aaron stood at the center of the courtyard, surrounded by Mira, Leon, and Tora. They had passed the trial of the veil, and the Queen had declared that the bond between them would become a symbol of lasting peace. The people looked at them with admiration and hope. For years, war had divided humans and Dominion citizens, but now, for the first time, smiles were common on faces that had known only fear. Mira stepped forward and addressed the crowd. "Today marks a new beginning. We honor the courage of Commander Aaron, who risked his life to save us. His heart did not seek reward, but it has given us the greatest gift, the chance to live together in peace." Her voice was clear and strong, carrying across the courtyard. The crowd cheered, and Aaron bowed his head slightly, feeling the weight of their gratitude. Leon followed, speaking about strength and trust. "We have learned that courage is not only shown in battle. True courage is choosing unity over division, and acting with honesty when the world expects lies. This bond we share with Commander Aaron will guide both our peoples into a new future." Tora laughed softly and held out her hands. "And joy is part of peace too. Even when the darkest times fall, we can still smile and learn from each other. Our friendship and trust will shine brighter than any weapon." The crowd laughed and clapped. Inspired by her light-hearted spirit, Aaron turned to the sisters, their presence reminding him why he had acted without fear in the past. "This honor is not mine alone," he said. "It belongs to all of us who fought for life and for the hope of a better future. Together we will make peace more than words. We will make it action, and we will protect it with the same courage that guided us through war." The Queen stepped down from her throne to meet them. She looked at Aaron carefully, her expression softening. "You have not only saved my daughters, Commander, but you have saved the hearts of our people. The law has changed because of your courage and honesty. From this day forward, the Dominion and humans will walk together. Let this bond remain unbroken." Aaron nodded. "I will honor it with every part of myself." In the following weeks, Aaron, Mira, Leon, and Tora worked together to build the first steps of a new alliance. Mira led diplomatic talks with humans and Dominion leaders, carefully crafting agreements for trade, travel, and education. Her wisdom guided the negotiations, helping both sides understand each other's customs and values. Leon worked with the Joint Defense Forces, She trained soldiers from both races, combining their strategies and techniques. The humans brought skill in large-scale fleet maneuvers, while Dominion pilots contributed unmatched agility and precision. Together, under Leon's guidance, they built a new defense force capable of protecting the Alliance from threats beyond their worlds. Tora focused on culture and exchange. She invited human children and Dominion children to meet and learn together. She shared stories from both worlds and encouraged art, music, and sports that celebrated diversity. Her laughter and warmth made even those who were wary of each other begin to trust. Slowly, friendship grew where suspicion had once ruled. Aaron remained at their side, observing, guiding, and supporting. He learned from the sisters as much as they learned from him. Mira taught him patience and insight. Leon taught him strategy and boldness, and Tora taught him joy and understanding. Together, they were more than a team. They were a family united by trust and respect. One day, a message arrived from the United Earth Council. They wanted Aaron to return home and report on the Alliance. He looked at the sisters. Mira smiled softly. Our work is not finished, but you have shown them that peace is possible. Leon nodded. They will listen because they see that we can trust you. Go and tell them what you have learned. Tora grinned. And tell them that humans and Dominion citizens can laugh together too. Peace is more than treaties. It is life lived side by side. Aaron bowed to them. I will return soon. But the bond we have formed here will last longer than any journey. As he traveled back to Earth, Aaron reflected on how far they had come. He remembered the first day he had rescued the sisters from the collapsing station. He had been a soldier fighting battles he did not fully understand, following orders without thought of reward. Now that same action had grown into a foundation for peace between entire worlds. One choice, made with courage and honesty, had changed the future. Back on Earth, he met with the Council. He shared not only the details of the Alliance, but also the lessons he had learned. Humans could coexist with other races, not through domination but through understanding. He spoke of trust, of courage, and of respect for life. He told them about Mira, Leon, and Tora, and how their hearts had guided the way. The Council listened carefully. Many were skeptical at first, but as Aaron shared the story of the trial of the veil and the unity of the three sisters, they began to see what was possible. When he finished, there was a long silence. Then the Council members began to applaud. Plans were made for embassies, joint research teams, and cultural exchanges. Earth itself was ready to open a new chapter of interstellar relations. Months passed, and the Alliance grew stronger. Ships traveled between Earth and the Dominion worlds, carrying goods, knowledge, and families. Students learned each other's languages and traditions. Scientists shared technology to improve energy, medicine, and agriculture. The bond that Aaron had honored with the three sisters became a living example of what humans and aliens could achieve together. Aaron returned to the Dominion world, greeted by Mira, Leon, and Tora. The sisters had continued their work in his absence, building schools, training centers, and cultural centers. The cities glowed with life and cooperation. Children from both worlds played together in open parks, and marketplaces were filled with the colors and smells of both human and Dominion goods. Mira approached him and said softly, "You have done more than any law could ask. You have shown that the heart's courage can change the world." Leon smiled proudly. The fleets are now stronger together. No force in this galaxy will challenge a partnership built on respect and unity. Tora laughed as she ran to meet a group of children. And our future is bright because we chose to care for more than ourselves. Aaron watched them and felt a deep sense of peace. He knew the journey was not over. There would always be challenges, dangers, and unknowns. But for the first time, he also knew that hope could be stronger than fear. As the twin suns set over the Dominion oceans, Aaron stood on a balcony with the sisters. Mira placed a hand on his shoulder. "This is only the beginning," she said. Leon nodded. "Together we can face anything." Tora looked at him with bright eyes. "And we will laugh even in the darkest times." "That is our strength," Aaron smiled. "Then let us walk forward together, not as master or reward, but as partners. Not as soldiers or nobles, but as friends who believe in something greater than ourselves." The sisters nodded. They understood. The bond they had formed in the trial of the veil was more than law, more than tradition. It was a bond of trust, courage, and unity that would guide both their peoples into a future free from fear and full of life. High above, the stars began to shine. Ships from Earth and the Dominion flew together across the skies, signaling a new era. Everywhere they looked, humans and aliens were building, laughing and learning together. The peace that had once seemed fragile was now strong, held by hearts that chose to care for each other equally. Aaron watched the horizon and knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them as one. Mira, Leon, and Tora stood by his side, each reflecting the light of the twin suns. Their combined strength and compassion had not only passed the trial of the veil, but had created a lasting alliance that would endure for generations. In the quiet moments, Aaron realized that the reward he had been offered was never meant for him alone. The reward was life itself, a life built on courage, understanding, and the choice to unite instead of divide. He had chosen all three sisters, and in doing so, he had chosen a future where two worlds could walk together, side by side, with hope lighting every step. The night fell, and the stars sparkled above like countless guides. Together they looked to the future, not as conquerors, not as rulers, but as friends, partners, and guardians of a peace that was born from bravery, honesty, and heart.